And we are live. Gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mecca of Banter. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little cracking of the Michelob Ultra because it's season 5, fellas. We are here. Another season of the Mecca of Banter podcast. And you know what? I'm so thrilled to do this with y'all. So this Ultra goes out to the two of you. So cheers to you two. We're here. We're back.
Man,
better than
you
ever.
didn't even give us a heads up. I would have gone and grabbed one.
I would have happily grabbed one.
Hey, would love to see you walk away, brother. So feel free to do that. Let's check in. It's your host for this week, Henry Wind. You can find me on Twitter at Henry Wind per usual. It's a great day and a great week, a great month, a great year to be a Manchester United fan. I'm so excited to dive into our season preview as we always do on the first episode of a new season. The Prem starts in just a couple of days. I can't believe that I'm saying that. We are recording this on Monday night, August 11th, and Liverpool kicks off the season on Friday. So can't wait to watch footy with the fellas this weekend. So let's check in. Andy Hoover, coming off a big weekend for you, Mr. Food Influencer on Twitter. How was it, fella?
Always a good time. Always a good time. The family reunion on my mom's side is always at the Iowa State Fair. So I have gone 28 of my 29 years of life. It's just kind of what it is. We always have a really good time. Spend a lot of good time in the beer tent, as well as looking at animals and competitions and things you couldn't even imagine. I competed in a Mr. Legs competition in front of a whole bunch of random people at the Iowa State Fair. Did not finish. I did not win, but I was very proud of my participation. Second family member since the 1920s to win any sort of ribbon at the Iowa State Fair. Very honored by that. So,
wow.
Yeah, young Yid on Twitter. Let's do it. Looking forward to it. Maybe a little bit less than everybody else, but that's okay. You know,
I do have to ask, what was the best thing you ate at the Iowa State Fair this year?
This year, no question, the steak tip gnocchi was rather obscene. Rather obscene. That was fantastic. Some honorable mentions. Lobster corn dog, you would not think would be very good at the Iowa State Fair. It was fantastic. The Iowa Twinkie, pulled pork with corn and cream cheese stuffed in a jalapeno wrapped in bacon. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
A lot of that stuff, yeah.
That's so good, bro. Well, glad to have you
now
back.
I'm starving.
Glad to have you on the pod. Very curious to hear about your Spurs. And now that it's back to the Premier League season, fuck you for winning the Europa Leagues.
Hey,
hey, we're
Johnson
here, bro.
Again, ole.
Come on. I sent a tweet to Dobes. I think it was this morning, maybe it was yesterday, that we won the treble, which was like the 3 competitions we were in over this summer. It was like the Snapdragon Cup and the Summer Premier League, whatever. We're coming off a treble win, baby. Lucas Winkleman, nice to see you. Nice to have you. Can't wait to hear you talk. So start it off with how you're doing.
Yeah.
Tell the world, how are you?
Doing well. So excited to watch Premier League next weekend. Spent my entire weekend in Evansville, Indiana. So similar to Hoove, not for a state fair, but for work. Glad to be back here for a little while before another work trip, so I shouldn't miss a pod for a while. And now that, season 5 is kicking off, I'm very happy that that's the case. A lot of positives, I think, all the way around from at least 2 of the 3 of us going into the beginning of this season. So stoked to dive into that.
Hell yeah.
And get together with the guys to watch Premier League. Have a couple Guinness. I've been missing a couple Guinness at the Old Amsterdam Tavern with you guys.
Someone's got to do it. Those things aren't going to drink themselves. And
it won't.
If they never have, they never will. So if not who, if not us, then who? So
why not us?
Why not us?
Why not?
Should we talk St. Louis City? What was that I heard? Was that 3 points? Did I hear 3 points? Come on, City. Come on. I'll go out and say it. That first half was the most enjoyable half of soccer I've watched St. Louis City play all season. That was chef's kiss. Hoover, I don't know how much you got to watch of it. Winks, I don't know how much you got to watch of it, being out of town in the luxurious destinations you two were in. Any thoughts, feels, reactions to this shellacking of Nashville?
Nashville's good.
I
think that's like the first thing that we got. The Eastern Conference, there's some dogs. Henny Mukhtar is balling, but dude, Falu Fall. Is that the pronunciation we're gonna roll with? Falu?
Yep, we'll go with it. Fall for short.
Fall.
Fall squared. Dog.
Dog.
Certified.
Dude, I saw some things that I didn't think I was going to see from St. Louis City's center back. And don't get me wrong, Kessler is excellent, and I think he's hands down our best defender. But we may have just signed a kid. And, like, very St. Louis reaction of us for us to immediately be like, shit, not going to keep him. He's going to take a huge transfer fee to the Premier League or something like that. And that's going to be it. That's exactly what we did with Blom, and we couldn't have been further from the truth on that. So I'm not gonna back that statement yet, but just to see a competent, smart, just thorough defender was so welcome. Like he was not fast. He was not overly aggressive, but he stuck guys when he needed to stick guys. He made the occasional decent pass out of the back when he needed to. Little back heel flick in the first 5 minutes out of his own box. Loved it. Yeah, but he emptied Mukhtar out of his pocket. That gets me so excited. Like, I think for where we're at right now, it's almost all next season based. And we've got a center back pairing. Nicky's not here to rejoice in what might actually happen, but we may have a center back pairing for next year. I see him and Kessler complementing each other really well. Dude, it was almost like he was moving in slow motion, but he got there every time. Like that's smart defending to me. That's positional awareness. And he was clamps, dude. It was awesome. I loved seeing that. Also, being in a legal betting state, my João Klaus anytime goal scorer bet hit so hard. That was awesome. Always love seeing the big Brazilian German man up top bagging goals. And Orozco, dude.
He's just a good player. He made some mistakes over the last couple of weeks. He's just a good player, man. He's 21 years old. He's going to make mistakes, and I just think that it seems to me that he has a little bit stronger mentality than some of these other guys, where, like, you make mistakes in back-to-back games, and you're like, whatever, I'm going to go score a banger in a position that I don't even play. Whatever.
That was crazy. I mean, both goals are. I didn't see the entire game, but their keeper made a save or two. But getting beat within the same 20-minute span on your near post is not a good look. You can't let that happen. And both shots kissed the inside of the post. They were very much so calculated near post shots. So I wonder if that was something that they'd seen in tapes before. But loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm all in 3 points and seeing, the guys that we need to be successful next year be successful. Yeah. So
Sang Bin got on the score sheet as well.
Sang Bin, exactly, dude. Awareness is just a heads up play on his part, and really good follow through from Betcher too. To be honest, he stuck with the ball, and that's if he gives you anything, he's going to give you relentless energy on and after the ball. So loved that. All the new dogs, young guys, all looked good. Sets up well. I don't know where we head from here. I'd love to see a streak. I'd love to see us, catch a little heat, even if it's just to look to next year. Solidify some of those young guys, some of those younger guys on the roster, and we move. I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah. Devin Paddleford started.
Sure.
He played the majority of the game, maybe played the whole game. Not hearing about him, good sign. And there's a couple of really good progressive plays that he had. Leuven played well. I just don't have too many notes on the negative side. Now, I will say towards the end of the game, though, we saw Akil Watts, and I don't even remember who else came on with him. Yeah, I was like, this could be something. And sure enough, it was something. We gave away a pen, and Berkey stood on his head. I hate that fucking stutter step, by the way.
Dude.
The thing is coming from a Bruno Fernandes guy over here, the whole little jump thing, I feel like the jump thing is different than the stutter. Going back and looking at that, the stutter step, I mean, he paused for a long time. We're damn near Neymar Santos levels of that stutter step. So I think that's ridiculous. But as soon as Berkey saved it, my house was freaking out, and I was like, I think that's actually the first penalty save I've ever seen Berkey make in his career. That was fire. And then he turned around to the fans and he was like, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so excited with City's performance. They really, really deserved that. They played well whole game. But again, that first half for me was everything. They turned up the heat a lot in that first half. It was really fun to watch. And just like you said, Hoover, Nashville's good. Like they have multiple guys who made the All-Star game. Like they, Sam Surridge, I think his name, or is it Sturridge? I don't know. He's joint top scorer with Messi. Like he's a dog. So Hani Mukhtar is always in like MVP consideration. So yeah, I'm pretty ecstatic with St. Louis City's performance. Makai Joyner, I thought he was going to get one at the end. I just messed up his breakaway a little bit, but great to see him out there as well. But let's talk Premier League, shall we? It's time. It's time for our Premier League season preview. So if you've been with us for the previous seasons, we always do a couple of things. We talk about our team, what we expect out of our team, where we think that our team individually is going to finish in the Premier League table, and who we think our player of the season is going to be. Not for the league, but for our teams individually. Who's going to be the most important person to our team? And then maybe if your team still feels a little weak, shout out Hoover. If your team is lacking in a specific area, who do you want to sign? What signings do you need to make before the end of the season? Yeah, just fill us in on the season preview. So in true preseason fashion, Arsenal is at the top of the table. They will be there probably for the majority of the season until the time that it matters, but we'll have you start first, Lucas. So what are you expecting out of your team this season? Who's going to be the player of the season for you? Where are you finishing? Do you still need anything?
Yeah, it's a lot of questions.
I know. It's
but
a lot.
I feel very confident in all of my answers, good, bad, or otherwise. Preseason was interesting for us. I think like most of you guys, our clubs are constantly rotating players, getting new signings minutes where possible. Playing teams that maybe we don't normally play during the season or in European tournaments. But preseason overall was pretty good. I think that we shook a lot of the rust off. Our new signings got some minutes as well. But I'm gonna choose to focus on the positive, which was our last preseason game against Athletic Club that we won 3. Gyökeres got his first Arsenal goal. Zubamendi his first assist. Combined together, it was absolutely beautiful. I think Zubamendi is going to end up being our player this season. Might be a popular opinion, might be an unpopular one, but I think Rodri sort of kick-started this idea across world football almost lately, at least to sort of our generation or the younger generation of viewers, on the importance of a player to a team who isn't the one that's scoring all the goals, and I think we saw it the last couple seasons with Declan Rice's impact to our team. But just seeing how quickly Zubamendi has been immersing himself in the way that Arsenal plays football, I think, is going to be really fun to watch throughout an entire season and European tournaments on top of that. So seeing how he controlled the game and controlled the pace against Athletic Club and then getting that assist was remarkable, and I'm extremely excited to see him continue. So I think he's going to end up being our player of the season. I think Gyökeres is going to be close second. I think that as he gets his feet wet, he's going to be scoring goals left and right for us. And it was weird to see Martinelli play that well in that game too. I don't know if you guys were able to watch it or did watch any of it.
I definitely didn't watch it. I had no interest in watching it.
Yeah.
Why was it weird watching him play well?
Because we haven't seen it. It's been about a year since I've seen him, play the way that he did, and sort of the chemistry that we had going up both wings was something that I hadn't seen in a long time. And so that's not to say that, we still don't need somebody on that wing, because we do. But overall, it was cool to see those front three work together. And I think something else that was unique, Calafiori played really well for me too in that last game. He's an interesting piece to this puzzle, because now that we have Zubamendi, I don't know that all the time, at least, we will need Miles Lewis-Skelly to be sort of that inverted left wing back.
Yeah, that's going to be super interesting to watch.
So as long as Calafiori can stay healthy, I think that he offers something both offensively and defensively that MLS hasn't quite developed yet. So assuming that he stays healthy, I could see Arteta choosing to play Calafiori more this season than Miles Lewis-Skelly, just purely because of the way Zubamendi plays in front of our back four. and his ability to get up and down the field similarly to how Declan Rice does. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. And again, it's tough to find a ton of takeaways outside of individual player performances because the overall squad rotation is just constant throughout these games. All to say, I think that we still need a left winger, and my dream signing is Eze for sure.
Over Rodrigo?
Yeah, I think that, we signed our two biggest signings were both non-Premier League players, and I would love a Prem proven player on that side. Not that I don't think that Rodrigo would succeed on the wing for us. I would almost be okay with getting Rodrigo just so Manchester City don't. But I like Eze and the way he would fit into our system a little bit more.
I feel like that signing was like early in the window. There was so much buzz around it.
Both were.
But specifically the Eze signing, like I felt like it was everywhere, and then it just went dark for the rest of the summer.
Yeah, I think that at least actually for both of those players, the clubs were asking, I think, more than what a lot of clubs wanted to pay for either of those players, and so it was one of those scenarios where we were, thankfully we jumped on the players that we needed to. We jumped on a striker finally, but nobody's made major moves for either of those players outside of now Manchester City, I believe, putting a bid in for Rodrigo. But, I think that because these clubs aren't getting the sort of influx of people wanting to buy these players, that, I see that price coming down a little bit. Again, maybe not for Rodrigo because I think Pep's going to end up splashing on him. But on the Eze side of things, I could see us doing something last minute and getting him. But I think that's the one missing, if I had to pick a missing piece to the puzzle for us to win the Premier League this year, knowing how much stronger Liverpool got, and how good I predict City will look. I think that's the one thing we need.
Did you get to see I can't remember his name, that center back you all signed, like the younger one from Spain?
Mosquera? Yeah.
Did he play in any of the games? Cool.
Dog won't start. I think it's going to be one of those understudy things, but he's going to be. I think he's going to be a much better off the bench center back than Kiwior will be, in my opinion. I think we saw it towards the end of last year. Kiwior came in here and there and played really well, but it's also weird because I can't think of the last time we've had like two substitute center backs that I would be like very okay with having on the pitch, in almost any game. Thinking back when Arteta first took over Arsenal and, having guys like Rob Holding and a 75-year-old David Luiz and etc.
Rob Holding, the Colorado legend.
Yes, sir. Yeah. It's just weird to think that now we have two young but good up and coming center backs, that we can bring in, knock on wood, barring any injuries or just, giving guys some rest. I think overall squad depth is the best it's ever been. Everybody's healthy. I think it's going to be up to the big man to get that last signing and then play the right 11 day in and day out. But I feel extremely.
Where was Kai playing when he was playing?
Up top, and he actually looked good too.
I mean, the thing is like what I was going to say when you said it was surprising to see Martinelli playing so well. Sometimes he just doesn't bang for a season, bro. Like sometimes the guys just dip for a season and they come back and, we talked about Grealish earlier. It's like his first season at City, he didn't do anything, like literally nothing. And then the season after, he was the player of the season and won the treble. So it's like sometimes it's just is what it is, Yeah,
and I don't think Trossard was enough competition for him, if that makes, like, we talk about players on our team needing a little kick in the ass and some competition to play to their level, and I think Trossard was always viewed as a substitute for us, even though he started here and there because of injuries. I think that there must have been some sort of conversation around that's still your spot, but we have this guy now, Prem proven experience that can do it. But bringing in a guy like Eze, who, is flat out better in almost every single way currently, I think it's going to take something like that for him to step it up, and hopefully even just the rumblings of us signing another left wing get under his skin a little bit and make that happen. But better safe than sorry in my eyes, and still give me Mr. Crystal Palace over here ASAP. So
I just think that Eze would be such a good signing for
unreal.
Multitude of reasons. One of them being the left wing position, but also plays the 10, bro. Odegaard, he might get injured, he might whatever, and you just Odegaard's a special player, obviously, but he faded in and out of the season last season. And yeah, you increase the competition on the left wing, you increase the competition at the 10. I just see that as such a good signing. But Arsenal sometimes, season or this transfer window, it has been a little bit different, but Arsenal's been reluctant to pull the trigger on anyone who's not a defender. So we'll see if they do it. But you said earlier you think that you'll win the Premier League. Is that the position?
I don't.
Okay.
No. Do we want to do our rankings now, or as we go one by one?
Where you think you're going to finish?
I think we're going to finish number 2 again. I think if we sign a left winger, I think we're going to win a trophy, but I don't think we'll win the Premier League. I think we're going to finish second if we end up signing Eze, clip this part out and put first in. I think if we have him, I think we can do it. Strength of our bench, like I said, is better than it's ever been. Having a striker now, a good one at that. Kai looks great and healthy. Everybody's healthy right now. I think that, there isn't any reason why we couldn't win the league this year. I think Liverpool only got stronger, unfortunately, and they were unbelievable last season. That's the last I'll mention them. But
they looked pretty shaky yesterday. So
preseason, I'm not worried about it.
Community Shield curse.
Exactly.
Off now.
I was going to say, Community Shield, not a real trophy, right?
Never.
Okay,
it's only a real trophy when Palace wins it.
or when Arteta wins it,
No, that's fake.
No, it's more so only a real trophy when we beat Manchester City to win it.
Okay.
If it was anybody else, I wouldn't. Yeah. No, but I think we'll win a trophy this year. Okay. I'm super confident in that. But
FA Cup's a hell of a trophy, bro. I love it.
Yeah, Champions League's there too. You never know.
I will say that I wasn't too confident in Arsenal until Arteta motioned to remove the tunnel from the Emirates, so now they can hear the roar of the stadium. So now,
the little things.
It's the little things, like the pickpocket and the dog named Win. Okay, Arsenal. Yeah, no, I think it'll be fun to watch. A beautiful home kit to wear at the Emirates. I don't remember off the top of my head what any of your other kits look like, but the home kit, fire.
The navy one.
I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
You're good.
But the red one, solid.
The all white one.
The white one's nice.
Oh,
yeah. The white one's
Woo.
nice.
Woo.
It'll be getting ordered
Woo.
very, very soon.
Yeah, dude, bro.
Beautiful.
That's a good one. Let's talk Tottenham, yeah?
What's there to talk about?
Up the Spurs, up the 10,
Up the town.
Who wants to play Cam? I don't know.
Play? Yeah.
Bro.
We actually have a smaller team than we did after we won the Europa League. Matters is
fuck
out.
it.
Matters is out for probably until February, March. While Sonny's gone.
Sunny.
And we've really only signed Mohamed Kudus and Kotataki, my Japanese center back, who's apparently staying. He has not been listed for loan. If they think that he's better than this Vuskovic kid, then okay, sure, sounds good. But lads, we don't really have any 10s right now.
You think Kudus plays the 10 or Decky?
I think, Decky will. He's coming off his own ACL injury and won't be ready till probably September, maybe even later. I think if we were starting this season healthy, everyone would still want a 10. Kulusevski has been extremely, extremely solid, both outright and through the middle. And I wholeheartedly trust him. I think he's going to be a dog again this year once he kind of gets back to fitness. But, big teams, in air quotes, would just go buy players that they need right now. And at this moment in time, I don't think we've done that. I'm looking forward to Tell's development. But again, can't rely on that. He didn't come in and just start scoring goals willy-nilly when he was playing last year. So it's interesting. Seriously, the only bright spot I've gotten this year is Mohamed Kudus, and the bits of preseason that I've been able to watch, he's electric. Like, we have not had, I mean, since Sonny was really in his prime, we've not had that one-on-one dribbling machine on a wing yet. So watching him has been extremely exciting, and truthfully, if Matters was healthy, he was going to be my player of the year. If Kulusevski was healthy, he'd probably be my player of the year as well. That more or less leaves Mohamed Kudus. It's going to be him.
I think Solanke's going to figure it out, bro. I think he is.
I think you give, and that's the thing. It's like, he was not in the Ange system. He wasn't really given a ton of service.
Yes.
Not until the last couple of games of the year when Ange was like, all right, we're gonna have to go for this trophy, and we're gonna have to change the way we play, which was against everything that he'd ever believed in. We weren't seeing crosses whipped in, and he's that type of guy. He's a target guy. He wants balls in the air. He wants balls crossed into the middle. He's a poacher. I think you're right. I think I'm even gonna back up on that, because I do think wingers can contribute a ton, but striker, man, if he scores 15 goals this season, we're elated. Like, he had 24 goal involvement, last year, which is great. Not against the top competition all the time, but that's good. I remember saying in preseason of last year, if he didn't score at least 10 goals in the league, that's a flop for sure. The price tag we bought him from Bournemouth for. His last 2 years at Bournemouth, he was just absolutely bagging. So I'm hoping that, yes, he becomes that, the player of the year. I hope he can really step back into his Bournemouth form. And I think with Thomas Frank, it'll suit him a lot better. I really do. The way that they play super quick through a 10, ping out to wide. And then, we saw Brentford do it over and over and over and over last year. They will hit you so fast and so quickly. And then they'll suck up pressure, like I've seen a little bit through this preseason as well.
Also, just a fun stat, Brian Mbeumo, more crosses than anyone else in the Premier League last year. And so when you think about finding that striker, that's Thomas Frank's thing. Like, he wants his wingers to cross the ball. And you think about, Wissa.
Wissa was eating last year.
Eating. And then Tony before that. Ollie Watkins in the championship before that with under Thomas Frank. Like, that's his thing.
You're absolutely making a fantastic point. So that will suit him, and it can only get better, in my opinion. He was never bad last year. I think if you watched much of Spurs, he was never sure, he missed the odd chance every once in a while, but so does Harry Kane, so does Haaland. But he was never bad, and he would always put in a shift. The work rate is insane, and I know that Thomas Frank's all in on that. So, yeah, my dream signing at this point is, funny enough, also Eze. It genuinely makes the most sense, I think, considering, one, if Savinho doesn't come in, which, I just read off of a person on Twitter who has 52 followers saying it's done, package complete, 68 million. If you believe that, then you've got your left wing covered in a Prem-proven, player who just needs minutes. And I think he's just a raw talent. And when you're playing under Pep, you're going to get rotated. You're not going to get the level of consistency that you need as a younger wing player. And you're going to be forced to play a different way. And I don't think necessarily Pep, broke him as a creative winger like he may have sort of Grealish. You can't blame Pep on every, one of those transfers. But I do think he'd have so much more freedom under Thomas Frank.
He's also 21 years old, bro.
Right, dude.
Sign that kid to a 4-year deal.
He's a young dog. And I also read that he's on $40K a week at Man City right now, which is why I guarantee you Daniel Levy is okay with signing him, maybe doubling his wages to 80.
And you'll like it.
Right. So I'm really hoping that comes through. And then genuinely, you just need a 10. And if you have Eze, who's extremely comfortable out left as well, Kulusevski comes back and starts to, work himself back into the middle. Your 10 options at the end of next year are Matters, Eze, and Kulusevski. And I think that's sick. So getting to there is the kicker right now. We just need a 10. I would be more than happy with another center back. But, creatively, from the preseason, defensive shape's been good. It's just been the only creativity up front's been Kudus. And, Brennan Johnson's a polarizing figure, right? He doesn't pass well. He's not a great one-on-one dribbler, but he's at the back post all the time, dude. And he's just in the right place at the right time a lot. So it'll be good for Brennan to have this competition come in because hopefully, and he's even said himself in interviews recently, like he knows he's got to get better at that in his game. And I have no reason to think that he won't. Little bit of competition goes a long way. Truthfully, though,
we said it right before the pod started. I thought that Jack Grealish was going to be the perfect signing for you all, even before the injuries. But I thought he would have been perfect. But he's going to Everton, which is bonkers to me. But the one player that for sure it won't happen, but I want you all to look at is Tyler Dibbling from Southampton. They valued him at like 100 million, and now it's all the way down to like 30 something.
Right.
I think you put him out on the right wing, you bring Kudus into the middle, or you bring Decky into the middle when he's back. You can even drop Richie into like the 10 and like a 2-striker system, whatever you want to call it. That gives you a little bit of sauce. But then again, with Eze, he's a little bit older, Premier League proven, unlike Dibbling. You need some leadership in that team too. You can't have a bunch of people under 21.
Right. And talking about leaders and looking at the squad list, like if you have 3 captains, last year it was Sonny, number 1 captain, and then the co-captains were Romero and Matters. Romero's your guy at this point. Still doesn't speak a ton of English. That doesn't bother me at all, but it might for some. Who else? Like Bentancur's never really been that guy. You need guys that are going to play a lot. I would say
Archie Gray.
I would love for Archie Gray to be a co-captain,
Bergvall.
Yeah,
Bergvall too. Archie's one of those guys.
I think there are a lot. I think you guys have a lot of young guys who have that captain potential in them.
They're just not there yet. Yeah.
But for me, yes, that. But also, I think when we look at a lot of these, the most well-known captains across world football, a lot of them had these great captains before them that they got to learn that stuff from, and so. Unless you speak fluent Argentinian, it's going to be tough to learn a lot of that from Romero.
Yeah.
But I hope that while Matters is out for your guys' sake, at the very least, Matters is still there at training with the young guys, like putting in the sort of background shift of helping develop these young guys, which I can only assume knowing him, not personally, obviously, but...
Right. You mean he's not one of your...
Yeah, I had to work that out in my head real quick, but knowing him, he seems like the kind of player that will be at the training sessions and, working with, the collective couple of players who are going to, be playing his position this season.
I think he definitely will be. And dude, it's the poor guy, devastating timing in a World Cup cycle. Like another one of those guys that I think everyone really does kind of like, without, club affiliation, aside and all that. But yeah, it's gonna be Romero in my opinion. But then is it, do you get Vicario in there? Is it Pedro Porro? Not really necessarily the leadership type guy that I would think. Huge locker room presence. Everyone loves him.
Probably will be Vicario.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't argue that honestly, because at the very least, Vicario will bleed for the badge. And, a lot of these guys will, but into what degree? Vicario wants it. He will lay everything on the line at every game all the time for his dogs. And it's interesting you brought up Grealish, like I just mentioned. I guarantee you the only reason he didn't come to Spurs is because he's on $250K a week at Man City. They weren't gonna Daniel Levy wasn't gonna cover that. So you can get the younger, less experienced, more raw option at a cut rate price. I'm sure he's going to take that on. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting year. We have played PSG. That's going to be sweet. Let's just hope it's not embarrassing.
If Chelsea can do it, you guys can do it.
You're right.
I do not mean this banter. You all have the weakest squad of the big 6 by a long shot.
Oh yeah, comfortably.
I mean, we were going bar for bar with you on that last year, but it's slim pickings over there.
I think you guys aren't that much ahead of us now. You signed 3 really good players that will fill in really well until AFCON, and then you lose
January. It's going to get a little
4 or
sketchy.
5 of those guys. Our squads are comparable. Not to mention you haven't beaten us for 3 years. I think All that said, seventh. Spurs are finishing seventh, in my opinion. I think they may make a decent little FA Cup run. I would love to not get grouped in the Champions League, but really, dude, that's what I want. And the best part of all of this is that our owner and sporting director said that we want to be challenging for both the Champions League and the Premier League title, and then has gone and done absolutely nothing to make that a reality. It's still Daniel Levy out till it's backwards. That's never going to change, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's like we said this about Ange last year. Ange finishes seventh and no title. He probably keeps his job, but that's not important to Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy wants consistency and mediocrity so that he can keep selling seats to the stadium.
I feel like he almost called it too early last year, though. Like, they started leaking, Spurs media was leaking that Ange was out before you
Right.
guys won Europa League. And had that not happened, I still don't know how you guys didn't go back and keep him.
Right. Me too. From what I've read a little bit, some of the athletic writers that Spurs have, despite the well wishes that all the teams or all the players kind of sent out on his when he was departing, I guess that wasn't necessarily the true feelings of everyone in the clubhouse. And that, the locker room vibe definitely has an opinion on, the future of a coach. So that it's weird, and it's almost like, I saw this on Twitter too. You leave, you get fired from Spurs after bringing Spurs a trophy. That's as close to completing football as it gets for many people. He's out in Greece right now getting steaks from Lobster.
Dude,
from
that's such
Steak
a weird
Bay.
thing. I hate that.
And it is
Why would
weird.
you do that?
I don't like it either. But he looks like he's just having the time of his life, spending a lot of time with his family. And like, as a guy that I genuinely care about as a person, and like what I felt like I supported from his point of view as just a human, it's like, I love it for him, dude. I just hope he's having the best time. I hope he's having a good time with his kids. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy he got that trophy that he so boldly called out so early in the season that he was going to win. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not sitting here with super high expectations this season. There's nothing for me to grasp onto on squad, on, we don't have, I would argue, we don't have a superstar in this team. And to be honest, Savinho comes in, we still don't have a superstar on this team. This is the first time since I've probably watched Spurs that, the general, not even general talent. It was always Gareth Bale or Sonny or Harry Kane, or we had these characters. We had these guys. We don't have one right now. So it'll be interesting.
Did you say who your player of the season is? Did I miss that?
I'm going to go with Solanke.
Okay.
I think final answer, I'm going to stick with Solanke on that, just because he's going to be the guy. Like, Richie's not taking his spot. I do think Richie could, if we keep Richie, he'll contribute as well as he ever does. Similar, work rate and aggression, but and like, that's the guy that you want on the field in a Europa League game in the last 40 minutes, because he's going to be a menace, and he did that. Like, I like those guys. You hate playing them, you love them on your team. But Solanke's going to get the lion's share of minutes, and he'll hopefully bag a few. That would be great.
Let's talk United, shall we? I am really pleasantly surprised with what I've seen over the summer, not only from the games that I've watched, but also the transfer business that we've done. It has had me fooled.
And everybody else fooled too, for real.
Going into the transfer window, I was kind of like, we're fucked. We're not going to spend any money. Everything that Ineos put out was that we have no money. We can't buy people. It's only dependent on sales. I knew that we weren't going to get a bunch of money for, the guys that we had. And then we signed Cunha, and I feel good about that. I was really convinced that was going to be the only signing. Turn around doing Bumo, which I was like, okay, we're cooking a little bit. And then we signed Sesko, and I'm like, okay, cooking a little bit, okay. And then, close to doing business for Baliba from Brighton and Donnarumma from PSG, and those haven't happened yet. So I can't really factor that into this podcast. But man, I'm believing it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for sure with what I've been seeing in preseason. And how Ineos has moved this offseason really just deserves some praise. Now, that's from the incomings, because it can't be overstated the fact that we haven't really done any sales. We still have on our roster, we have Antony, we have Garnacho, we have Sancho. Rashford went to Barcelona on loan, great, but like we still have guys that we probably need to get. We have Malacia still. Don't know if you guys even know who he is, but we still have him. So there's some outgoings that need to happen, but the incomings that have come in, I feel really, really, really good about. To be honest with you, like what does our team still need? We need a center midfielder and we need a goalkeeper. And it sounds like we've identified our targets in both of those situations. So at least what it looks like right now, our number one choices in both of those positions, Baliba from Brighton, Donnarumma from PSG. If we don't get those two, it looks like we're going to transition to Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace, and then Leymans from France. I don't remember what team he's on. He's a younger goalkeeper. So it looks like we have a plan. I mean, as shocking as that is coming from a United fan under the Glazers over the last 15 years, it sounds like we have a plan in the transfer window. If you're to read in on any like United Twitter, social media, YouTube, whatever, something that, is funny is before the Europa League final, Ruben Amorim did a press conference and basically said, we have a plan for the offseason if we win, and we have a plan if we lose. And what's been circulating is like, if this was the plan for if we lose, Cunha, Mbeumo, Šeško, Baliba, Donnarumma, fuck was the plan if we win? Like if we're getting all those guys on no Champions League football, a rebuild, playing one game a week, like, I mean, it's just something to pay attention to. In the outgoings department, it looks like Højlund might go out on loan. AC Milan seems to be sniffing around quite a bit. A loan fee plus a potential buy option for 40 million, which I'm cool with. There's been a lot of discourse around how Ineos is really implementing the whole idea of you have 2 seasons to prove yourself at United. First season, people like settle in. It's kind of rocky for some people. Second season might be the same way. But if you don't prove yourself within 2 seasons, you're not part of the long-term future, which I can appreciate. Højlund doesn't seem like he's going to be that guy. Šeško is going to be the number one for sure. And then even in this last game, a preseason game, we chose to play Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount at times at the 9, other than Højlund. Højlund didn't touch the field the entire game. So I think that's pretty indicative. If he doesn't go out on loan, then Cheeto, Obi, who's, our 17-year-old, he'll definitely go out on loan. But we'll see what happens there. For me, the dream signing is Baliba. Even if we don't get a new goalkeeper, Baliba would be transformational in our team. We've watched him at Brighton. We know how good of a player he is. Their talent identification is second to none, other than that Basuma. But, Baliba would just be a generational type player. He was someone that was identified a long time ago as someone that would be like an ideal signing, but never thought that it would be possible, especially going into this window. I didn't think that we had the money to do it. So the fact that it sounds like we're going into personal terms and we'll go to Brighton after this, it's pretty exciting. My assumption is it's going to be either a deadline day move or pretty close to. So we'll see. I'm equally as excited to watch what Cunha does and Mbeumo does. Their link-up play has been really great this season, or this preseason so far. Lenny Yoro, I'm going to call it out now, bro. He has been so good this summer. He has been excellent every single game that he's played in, both physically. His passing's been great. His defending's been great. I've been super impressed with him, whether he was the right center back or the left center back. I've loved watching him play. I feel super high on him right now. Ahmad locking down that right wing back position. So I feel good. I feel optimistic, and I'm really surprised that I'm saying that. I think that as the team stands right now, like today, I think top 6, I feel pretty good about. And I'll even go out and say that if we sign Donnarumma and Baliba, I think top 4 is where we'll finish this season. I think that it's going to be a lot, but I think the one thing that we have that you all don't is just the 1 game a week. I think we can focus on that. The injury risk is less. We actually have a little bit of depth. Like Mason Mounts looked great all preseason and he's still fighting, but I haven't even mentioned him yet, but my player of the season for Manchester United this season is going to be Bruno Fernandes. That might come as no shock, or it might come as a shock with the new signings. But I think, Bruno's numbers over the last several years have been excellent. Every single season he's been up there for the team of the season of the Premier League. He's been so good and he's had no help. And now, when you look at the numbers that he could have, the guys that he's playing balls to, the assist numbers that he's going to have, he's just going to pop off, bro. Like, I just think the creativity of Cunha and Mbeumo, Šeško on the end of his crosses, like, I think that he's going to have one of his best ever seasons, which is saying a lot because he's been the best player in United side for many years now. So I'm excited. And, Lucas, to your point earlier, you said this about Arsenal. You have backup center backs that you'd be happy to play. For me, it's kind of similar. I have as my starting three right now, I have De Ligt in the center back, Yoro out on the left center back, and Mazraoui on the right center back. But you throw in Maguire in there, Aiden Heaven in there, Lissandro Martinez when he comes back. Like, I feel pretty good with those 6 center backs for 3 positions. So we'll see. Deleu's not going to start. He's going to come off the bench. I feel good about that. Luke Shaw's in that center back department. I feel good about that. Like, I feel really optimistic going into this season. So
I think your one game of the week piece is big. I don't think you're as deep as you might be saying, but I think you're deep enough for one game a week for sure. More or less without those signings. Without those signings, you guys are the same team as last year, and let's not, act like last year was all that fun for anybody. But one game a week and those 3 guys that you signed, I'm not even going to speak on the potential rumors, but your attack is different. It's just already different. But, come AFCON, come 2-3 injuries mid-season, like...
AFCON's going to be an interesting one, man.
You guys are kind of going to get pinned back down into what you saw a little bit of last year, in my opinion, which is fine. It's not, you're going to struggle. But if you're playing Champions League or even Conference League, and having to rotate all these guys with an FA Cup run or a League's Cup run, like, I don't know if you've got the depth for it. But, yeah, your stipulation on that, I think, is...
Yeah.
You're deep enough. You're deep enough.
I also think that, come AFCON, because that's something that's going to affect us a lot. Like, we have, I think, 5 representatives, and like 4, maybe all 5 are starters,
Morocco, Mazraoui's Morocco, Onana's Cameroon,
Amad Diallo,
Ivory Coast, Cameroon.
Yeah, I mean,
yep.
We have quite a bit, and then if we get Baliba, for example, he's also an AFCON.
Yeah.
So like, that's definitely gonna play.
What nationality is he?
Cameroon. Yeah. So
Senegal didn't make it this year, so Kudus
really?
doesn't even go.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, so that's something that we're definitely going to have to address. But you think about it, like, we have if we get Donnarumma, there's that. Like, we have Xerxes to fill in for Brian Mbeumo. There's that. We'll have Deleuze play for a couple of games out on the right wing. Like, it's doable. We're going to feel slim, but it's doable, and you look at someone like Casemiro and you say, like, hey, well, Baliba's not here. You got to step in January. You got to do a job. So yeah, I feel optimistic. I do think that Bruno is going to have his best season. And something else that, Amorim has to produce. He, in my opinion, he's come out and said all the right things. He has a way about him that's so easy to listen to. People widely regarded in the club, people really like him. The board really likes him. The players really like him. He's like put his foot down on a couple situations that maybe previous managers couldn't have done. But all of that's for nothing if we have, a couple losses under our belt in the first 2 months of the season, so we have to buy that in. And I have to believe that it's going to start off really well against Arsenal, first game of the season. I do think it's funny though, Lucas, that first game of the season, Manchester United against Arsenal, you have, Amorim against Arteta, you have Šeško against Gyökeres. I just thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought that we were both going to see them on the field, but Šeško for Arsenal and Gyökeres for Manchester United. But it's just funny how things work out.
It's gonna be a banger of a game.
Oh, it's gonna be so
regardless.
Fun.
It's gonna be.
I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be cagey. I think that there's gonna be some fouls thrown. Like, I'm looking forward to it for sure. It's only a couple days away. So yeah, I think top 6 of where we stand right now. If we get those 2 players, I'm going top 4 for us. I feel like, don't want to talk ad nauseum here because we're getting to the end of our time, but Liverpool and Chelsea both, just want to touch on them just a little bit. Obviously, we've mentioned Liverpool's signings of Ekitike, Jeremy Frimpong, Kirkes out on the left.
Florian Wirtz.
Yeah, Florian Wirtz. Just a couple guys and a couple £100 million thrown around. What do you make of them? We saw them against Crystal Palace. They lost they tied and then lost in pens. First competitive game that we've gotten to see. They also got pumped a couple times in preseason. I don't know what to think about them.
I still tried to take preseason, because we see individual preseason performances and expect these guys to pop off. Like, I still take it with a grain of salt. I think they're still, I don't think they've gotten any weaker as a team. It's going to take a little bit of time for players to, get ingrained in the system. But then we saw, Frimpong accidentally score a goal. Edetike's goal was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was.
Really, really good in that tight space with three guys around him. So I think that there's going to be a different mentality by the time the actual season starts. But I also think, you touched on it regarding you guys not having any games in Europe this year. I think that's going to be a massive factor that I didn't even take into account when I was putting together my top 4. I don't think I'll change what I have, but I do think it'll be a big factor. And with some of these older Liverpool players continuing to get older, we could see something happen as far as that goes this year, a little bit of a downslope in production, but I think that they're still too good and got the three main players they signed are just really, really good players.
They, it was their season to lose. It was their title to lose last year. Just in the way that the league kind of rolled, it's got to be the same, in my opinion. Like, I think they got stronger. They sold out. They had a couple semi-surprising transfers, in my opinion. I understand the Luis Diaz thing now after, he's 1 year on his contract and freeing up some space. And they've gotten stronger a lot of the positions on the pitch. But you just have to assume that, one, Man City's going to be back. Like, Pep will not have another average year like he had last year, in my opinion. And Liverpool had to go out and spend big to make sure that they could still compete. So I think their objective has to be the league again, especially with the amount of money they've spent. I could see them making a good run in the Champions League as well. I think they've got to be fighting for the top spot at the least. If it's not, if they're not number one, I think it's a failure after last season and the investment. Like those two things back to back, I still think it's theirs to lose. But they could. That's just how this rolls.
Yeah, I think there's the paper test and there's the eye test always.
Right.
Eye test, I have not been impressed with them in this off season, but on paper, man, they did get stronger. And
yeah, disgusting.
It's hard to say what's going to happen. I think if they need anything, they really need to go out and sign a center back. They really need to do that. Doesn't even have to be a world beater. I just think it needs to be another really competent center back, unless they have some kid in the academy that no one knows about. But I think that is what they really need to do. The thought of Konate going down or Virgil going down with an injury, like they're really not deep in that lane. So I know Butch said that a couple weeks ago, that's what they need to do for the rest of the window. It still hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to trust that they're thinking of the same thing, even if it's on loan or whatever it may be. So
they've been methodical with their business. There's no way that that's not on the radar.
Yeah. But what about Chelsea? Chelsea obviously is coming off of the Club World Cup and about 75 signings, so it's hard to know even who's going to be on the team in a month. But I'm not going to lie, fellas, I'm a little bit worried about Chelsea this season. I think that they are going to make a huge push for top 4. I think they're going to be really competitive. Say what you want about Maresca, man, but he's done a good job with that squad.
Yeah, I think on the other side of the spectrum, they are far and above the deepest team in the league, and I think that'll benefit them. I think they have so many of these 14, 15-year-olds that are no I think I'm looking at their last game when they pounded AC Milan, and their starting 11 looks really good. I think we can all agree, and Nick will appreciate me saying this, but I still think they need a keeper. Their center back situation, I don't know
a center back too.
What's going to happen there, but I think a center back and a keeper and a healthy season out of Reece James.
Which, by the way, just like frustrates me so much to even say, because it's like, how many guys have they signed and they still need a goalie and they still need a center back? I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I don't
There's
think
a really
it's the
good
fact
left
that they
winger
didn't
from Manchester
sign them.
United from Argentina that they can sign for $50 million.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's the fact that they probably have signed. I don't even know if they've signed any center backs or keepers recently, but I think they need to sign a marquee player in each of those positions, not 3 18-year-olds for the same price as a marquee, in his prime. If competing this year is what they want to do, which it seems to me that that's their goal after signing Nacho, João Pedro, Gittins, etc. they need a marquee player in those two positions
What's
for
weird
it
though
to
is
mean
like
something, because they're gonna score goals.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna, but I also think that they're gonna let up a fair amount.
Which is
If you
that was a
if
good
you
thing
can
all
get
last year.
if you can get past their two holding mids, I think they're gonna let up a lot of goals this year. So it's
center backs are in such small demand, like
They are.
such small supply. Sorry, right now it's like, Real Madrid needs a center back badly, but it's like they got Dean Huijsen, but like other than that, there's just not many center backs. I mean, to be honest with you, I was really surprised that Chelsea didn't move for that Bournemouth cat that just signed for PSG, that center back. PSG signed him for like 60 million, and I think that was there for Chelsea to do, and they just chose not to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think about even in the world game, like there's just not too many guys that are like readily available. Now, they could sign Andreas Christensen back from Barcelona. He's on the chopping block for sure. You could sign him back from there, but
probably not your marquee that you were talking about.
No, but I think of like Tosin Adebayo, that they signed from Fulham or whatever on a free. That's a perfect signing. That is a perfect signing for what they need right now. Someone who's a little bit like more established, but like
Mark Gahey on the last year of his contract. That makes a lot of sense for them. Yeah.
That would be a great signing for them. Yeah, I just don't know who they go and get, but I think their center backs is where they need something. Every other position on the field, I feel like they have depth. Even the goalkeeper, Sanchez, is not great. Petrovic is not great, but I think it's doable. Yeah, I just think they need a center back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right, fellas.
Top four?
Yeah.
Top four?
Yeah. Who do you have, Hoof?
City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea.
What do you say? City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea? Okay.
I don't know if I have too much of an explanation other than the fact that Pep's a demon, and he literally was pulling out non-existent hair last year.
Yeah.
And he's not going to let that happen again.
He's also back with his wife. So
he's back with his wife, who may have been the tactical genius the entire time. Along. We don't know.
Pep's a front, bro. He's just a front.
Pep's a front. I think they're going to ball. I think Liverpool, with maybe their new signings, struggle to figure it out together in the beginning. I think they could have an insane Champions League run, because I'm sure they will figure it out. And it kills me to say this, I do really like Arne Slot. Like, I think he's a good dude. I think he is not the, brash tactico that Klopp was, which brought success, don't get me wrong, but he's very balanced in the way that Liverpool team's extremely balanced in the way that they play. And if they sign a center back, I think they'll definitely, be fighting neck and neck with City and Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal dropping off by any means. I just think that the way that we've seen Liverpool win it last year and then reinforce their team, not that Arsenal hasn't, but I just think they've already got that edge with the base team that they're walking in with. Unless Victor Gyökeres, scores 25 goals, I think it's going to be a tough hill to climb. So, yeah, and then honestly, Chelsea will just buy whoever they need to figure it out in January, and they'll be just fine. I like Enzo Maresca too, to be honest. I made fun of him all last year and pretended to not know his name, but that gimmick is done. I will give it to him. He's a good manager, and I think really it's a testament to just handle the size of that dressing room and all of the kids and everything that he's had to do with just rotating and getting players in and out is impressive. And yeah, I don't think Man United and Newcastle will be super far behind, but Newcastle for sure is not catching in that top four. Yeah. So
shot.
Yeah, I like my top four. I'm going to stick with it.
I have Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's a big one. Liverpool for all the same reasons that you just shared. City, I think that they're going to be significantly better than they were last year, but I do not trust this City team right now. Like, I know the Club World Cup isn't everything, but
Chelsea?
No, when they were playing in the Club World Cup, it was just like the team just didn't flow at all. Like, there was just no balance. Rodri's out again until September. Like, I don't see it. Chelsea, I think, is going to be some dogs. And then I'm trusting my gut that Donnarumma and Belieber are coming. And so I'm putting Manchester United into that 4 spot. Now, what I will say is I know that Arsenal isn't in that top 4, but I don't think that it's going to be like Arsenal's going to like terribly fall off or anything like that. I think for the first time in a while, this top 4 is going to be pretty close. I think that City and Liverpool are going to push each other the entire season, but I don't think that the 3 through 6 spot is going to be far behind. So I think it's going to be a little bit better of a season than we've seen than years past.
As long as Nottingham Forest gets relegated, I'm cool.
Bro, I don't think that they're going to be.
I think they're going to be bad.
I don't think they're going to be top 8. They have to do. They're officially in the Europa League now.
I hope they get
Crystal Palace
walloped.
So, yeah, I think that they're going to fall outside of the top 8. I think Aston Villa is going to fall outside the top 8. Like, I just think that. Yeah, stinks.
Interesting.
Arsenal number 1.
No, I don't have that. No, I actually think I think it might be the first. I tried to Google it earlier, but I think for the first time in the Premier League history, we're going to see an exact 1 through 4 repeat.
Really?
Season at, yeah. So I have Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, but I agree on the front that it's going to be a lot closer in terms of points than we saw last year. You know, I think it could be a 5-point difference between first and fourth place.
I'm begging for a real race, dude.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah.
So, you know, as far as the order, in hindsight, it doesn't really matter that much. Like, I could see 2 and 3 going on goal differential for second and third place.
Like, as long as Arsenal doesn't finish second again, they could be third, they could be first, they could be fourth. Doesn't matter to me. Just as long as
mix it up a little bit.
Do something cool.
But I think a Manchester City without Kevin De Bruyne officially is going to be weird. They're strong. We know that they have one of the best managers.
I'm going to call it out. Phil Foden's on fraud watch right now.
He's on fraud watch, dude.
Dude, he's on fraud watch. I don't want to say that, but he is on fraud watch for sure.
And I know we're not covering league player of the season. I think Turkey might just fucking
no shot.
You don't think?
No.
I think he's going to be a demon. He's got to he's picking up Kevin De Bruyne's boots.
Dude, no.
That's the role.
I think, here's the deal. I think that Shirky's going to be one of those players that every week we love watching. I think he's going to be so fun. I don't think he is there yet to fill that spot.
Okay.
Like, you look at that center midfield, you have fully healthy. You have Rodri, you have Bernardo Silva, you have Cherky now, you have Reinders now, you have Nico Gonzalez. There are so many guys that can go in there. But, I just don't know if Cherky's going to be that yet. I think he's going to be a really good player. It would not surprise me at all if he was the young player of the season. But I don't know if he's going to be, the player of the season.
I think he's going to be really good.
I'm expecting a big step up for Cole Palmer from last season.
Yeah, Cole's a good shout on that one.
I do think Bruno's going to be up there. I think that there's going to be a lot of guys from all the top teams that are going to have good seasons. I'll be curious on who Liverpool's guy is going to be. You know, research would tell me that it's going to be Salah again, but I could see
going out on.
Yeah, I could see TK balling. I could see Florian Wirtz balling. I think Ryan Gravenberch is going to play a lot of minutes at center back this season, and he's going to ball. So, it's just, it's going to be interesting. Super interesting. But fellas, this time next week, we'll be discussing our first game week of the Premier League. Super excited for it. We're also going to play some fantasy this season, the Mecca Fantasy League. We'll try to update the listeners as the season goes on where we are. But as always, you can follow us on all social media, the TikTok, the Twitter, the Instagram. We're posting on there like madmen. Fellas, for season 5 kickoff. Cheers.
Let's go.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.